Okay, I am going to go ahead and start this presentation, and then you guys will be able to watch it on your own time, so that'll be a little more convenient. This is just some meal prep basics. There's kind of three easy steps to make sure that you have success. First off, as you watch this, I want you to think about, what does success look like to you? Maybe if you feel like you've found success with meal prepping, that's because you're doing it consistently. For me, that's one of the big ones. Also, maybe it's just that you are actually eating the stuff you prep. How many of us have gotten into a habit of spending the time and the effort and the money to prep some food on the weekend, and then we end up not eating it during the week and it goes bad? So that would be a good, indicator of success if you're able to eat the food you prep. Some other things to think about: what worked well for you in the past when it comes to meal prep? What do you struggle with the most? And what has inhibited you from seeing results in the past? We kind of ask these questions anytime we're trying to change a behavior or reach a goal. Because if you don't kind of think about these things, you're probably going to continue to struggle and not really figure out what your big hurdles are, and be able to make changes there to move you forward. So think about these things, and then that way we can build on it to create new habits that will get you where you want to go. Step one is definitely going to be: create a plan. If you don't have a plan, it's probably not going to go that well. Whether that means you designate a day to do your shopping and your meal prep. Maybe you have to habit stack. So if you have one thing that you already do consistently, maybe you just add on to it. So, like for me, cooking protein is usually something that's easy for me to get done when I do meal prep. But preparing veggies so that I will then use them later in the week, that's something that I can do while that protein is cooking. So while I'm cooking meat, I will go ahead and get some veggies prepped as well, whether that means cutting them, baking them. Like a spaghetti squash is something that is great to do while you're browning some ground beef or cooking some chicken, whatever it is. Go ahead and bake a spaghetti squash while that's all going. You also really just need to plan your meals. That's going to be step one, because if you don't plan your meals, you're not going to know what to buy at the grocery store. You're not going to know. Let me add somebody in here. All right. So if you plan your meals, you'll know then what you need to get at the grocery store. You will have a good idea of what you're going to have for the week. But if you don't plan your meals, you're going to end up, well, what usually me, if I don't plan out my meals ahead of time, I'll go to the grocery store, I'll wander around, I'll buy some of the stuff that I usually get. Then I get home and I don't feel like I have anything that will come together to make an actual meal. I just have a bunch of random odds and ends. So planning out your meal first is going to be key. And then you can see we have these sheets here. If you don't have one of these in your challenge packet, I have them at the gym, so you can actually just get one from me. They're really helpful. Step one is going to be pick your protein. So figure out, what is your protein for the day. Is it going to be chicken? Is it going to be ground beef? Is it going to be steak, perhaps? Is it going to be fish? Whatever it is, pick that, put it on there. Then you need to pick a starch. So maybe it's rice, maybe it's sweet potato, maybe it's regular potato, whatever it is. You're going to make sure you know what your protein is, your starch, your vegetable. Pick at least one, but don't feel like you're limited to just one. Sometimes veggies are really good when you have a mixture of veggies. Then you're going to pick your fat. So what fat are you going to add in to your meal? So this example two here, we've got baked fish, sweet potato, green beans, and avocado. Sounds pretty good. And up here we've got panko chicken, quinoa, roasted broccoli, and olive oil. So olive oil could go drizzled on the chicken, on the broccoli, wherever. But you could eat it separately, I guess, but that would be weird. So you'll just go through each day. What's your protein going to be? What's your starch? What's your veggies? And what is your fat? Try not going too big at first. I think there's a temptation often when we're planning out our meals, that it's going to be something different and we need to reinvent the wheel every day. I like to have 2 to 3 protein options for the week, and then just kind of change up the way you serve them. So, say if I do chicken and ground beef, those are 2 pretty common ones. I can brown a few pounds of ground beef and I'll just season it with salt, pepper, and garlic, because those are super common flavor seasonings that I'll add to everything. And then you can take that and you can take the ground beef and add it to some stir fry veggies to make a curry with some coconut milk and curry paste. You can take the ground beef and add it to, like, we'll do kind of like a fajita in a bowl type of thing. I'll dice up a bunch of peppers and onions, and I'll add some chili powder and cumin and oregano to the ground beef and reheat it. Add the peppers and everything in there. Top it with some salsa and guacamole, and then maybe we can eat it that way. So there's 2 very different flavors from one protein source. So that way you don't have, like 6 different types of protein that you need to buy and use and prep and all that kind of stuff. You can just do one big batch of ground beef and then just season it different ways and change it for the different meals when you get to that point. Same for the chicken. This week I did a bunch of chicken. I just put chicken breasts in the crock pot, salt, pepper, garlic, and probably paprika. Pretty much always put that on there too. And then one meal I used this Alfredo sauce. It's like a cashew Alfredo sauce. It's pretty tasty. And we had that with zucchini and some other veggies. And I served it on top of greens. So that was really good. Then we also use that to make chicken tacos. So 2 different flavors, keeps it fresh, but you're not having to reinvent the wheel every day to make something new. So plan your meals. Pick 2 to 3 protein staples for the week. Stock up on freezer staples. I think we talked about this in one of the other nutrition talks. I used to get really kind of wrapped up with trying to get everything the best possible, right? So like, we all know that fresh veggies tend to be the best source of nutrients, and they're better than frozen, and they're better than canned. Well, there's some research out there that shows that's not true, just because they start losing nutrients the longer it's been since they've been harvested. But they go bad really quickly. And there's just nothing, like loading up on all these fruits and veggies on the weekend, and then you get to Wednesday or Thursday and they're not working, or they're not good anymore. So freezer veggies have kind of become one of my go-to items. So protein and freezer items, I always make sure I have plenty of those. Plan out your snacks, right? Like, don't forget when you're making your list of things you're going to prep to include some balanced snacks in there. And then always have a bunch of veggies. Make a list, organize it by the way the grocery store is laid out. That is the easiest way to do it. And then if you're not really sure what to make, browse through the recipe section on our website, or go to healthystepsnutrition.com/healthy recipes and just pick something on there that you haven't tried before and give it a whirl. It's pretty easy and it keeps things fresh, so you don't get tired of doing the same thing. Step 2, execute the plan. This is, some of us get stuck here. We have the best intentions. We spend a bunch of time creating, the perfect plan for the week, and we get our grocery list together. We may even go to the grocery store and buy all the groceries, and then we get home and just it just kind of fizzles from there. So make sure not only that you block out the time to go to the grocery store to plan your meals, what do you need to get to make these meals, but also plan the time to prep everything. Um, so you need to make sure you have food defrosted. So for me, I forget like all the time to pull meat out of the freezer and put it in the fridge. So one of the ways to do that is on the weekend, pull out 3 different things and put it in the fridge so that it can thaw through the week. Make sure when you're cooking, like make sure you make big portions. I try to make it to where every meal that I cook, if I'm cooking dinner, I try and have leftovers so that we can either eat those for lunch or we can eat them for another dinner. Um, Use different cooking appliances to save time. We're fortunate now that we have an awesome setup for meal prep. We've got 2 ovens and 2 stoves, which has made things so much easier. But we still, when I do some meal prep, we'll have both ovens going. I'll have stuff on the stove. I'll get out the air fryer, the instant pot, or the crock pot. Those are all items that will help you meal prep with a little bit more success. The more you can do at once, the better, as long as you don't burn everything. Been guilty of that a few times. So, prep and portion your meals. So if you have those 3 compartment containers, those can be really helpful, especially for lunches. We'll do that. We don't actually, I prefer just the single compartment containers. They're just those little square or rectangular shaped ones. And we'll, prep our starch. So maybe it's some sweet potato or maybe it's some rice, whatever it is. Put that in there, put our protein in there. We'll weigh everything out. And then we'll get our veggies in there and toss it in the fridge. And then we have, this nice stack of meals ready to go for our lunches throughout the week. And they also don't have to only be eaten for lunch. You can eat them for dinner, which we will do. Especially, this last week, my son had a baseball game and it started at 8 o'clock. So it was about 10:30 by the time we got home. And because of the way our life is, we had not eaten dinner yet. So we just pulled some stuff out that we had in the fridge, heated it up, ready to go. We had a good, healthy meal that didn't take too much time. So just don't get stuck on, well, I made this for lunch. Like you can eat it for dinner too. If you made it balanced, it's balanced for whatever meal you're eating. So that's another thing there. Some of the things that are good meal prep tools to have. A crock pot is great. You can use it on the weekends when you're doing your big meal prep, but you can also just make super easy meals during the week. Just toss everything in there before you leave for the day. And then when you come back, it's ready. Muffin tins. I will say the egg muffin recipe, if you don't get parchment paper cups to line the muffin tin with, they are really hard to remove. So I ended up buying one of those silicone muffin tins, and I'll just place it inside the regular muffin tin. Works great. So that's something to think about. You can get it on Amazon and probably lots of other places too. A baking sheet. I have probably 4 good baking sheets, and I still don't feel like it's enough. When we're doing meal prep, we need a lot of big baking sheets. So the more, the better. Roasting pan. I don't really use a roasting pan because I use the baking sheet. It's kind of, I use the ones that have the little edges on it. So that's, but if you have just the flat baking sheets, then you definitely want a roasting pan as well. And then 3 compartment containers, or like I said, we use the single compartment containers because we tend to just mix our stuff all together a lot. And then an air fryer. That is such a good tool. It makes, cooking veggies quick and easy. And it just gives them a little different flavor. So especially if you have kids or if you have picky eaters, sometimes just preparing some veggies, trying some different recipes in the air fryer is a great way to get them to like it. One of our favorites is cauliflower with broccoli with Parmesan cheese on it. So we'll put the broccoli in the air fryer, some salt, pepper, and some Parmesan cheese sprinkled on it and cook it that way. It's pretty tasty. So any questions so far? No. All right, cool. So cruising right along. I was kind of talking about this earlier, but you don't have to have, 6 or 7 different types of protein during the week to, you know, stay fresh and not bored. So you can cook a whole chicken or get a rotisserie chicken. That's honestly one of my little cheats that I'll do. I don't enjoy cooking a whole chicken, so I will buy a rotisserie chicken, or we'll just cook chicken breast or whatever. But you can do, all these different things with it. So you can take that rotisserie chicken and you can make chicken soup. You can make kale chicken salad. You can make chicken tacos, chicken stuffed sweet potato. If you haven't tried that, it's pretty good. Make buffalo chicken, like cover the chicken with buffalo sauce, and then put it on top of the sweet potato. It's pretty tasty. And then you can do an avocado chicken salad as well. So the avocado chicken salad is one of my favorites. You just take the avocado, smash it up real good, and mix it all in with the chicken. It's similar to a chicken salad made with mayo, but it's with avocado, so it's delicious. So that's just, one meat, one type of protein, 5 different options. Each one tastes a little different. So you don't get bored. And that is really important for sticking to the plan and seeing success over the long run. Step 3, track your progress. We talk about this a lot with fitness, but it's true for nutrition as well. If you're not tracking it, it's really easy to lose motivation. And it's also really easy to tell yourself that you're doing everything that you should, but you're not seeing results. But if you're not tracking it, you don't really know. So you have to track it or else you cannot measure your success. So you can, some things to track would be your meal prep consistency. How often are you meal prepping? Are you doing it weekly? Are you doing it at least, 3 days out of the month? That's something you can track. You can track your budget and see if you're saving money by meal prepping, because odds are if you are meal prepping and then you're eating those meals, you're probably going to cut down on your food bill. Because what we do is if we haven't prepped stuff, we are way more likely to eat out. And eating out is not only more expensive, but it is generally not going to support your health and fitness goals. So tracking whether or not you're saving money is a good way to see if you're on track. You can also track your food intake by logging it in MyFitnessPal or writing it down. And this is something that is, I think it's really important to track it in some way or another. It's really easy to tell ourselves that we've been doing everything right if we don't have to actually look at what we've been doing. I've done this many times over the years. I will just be like, man, I don't know why I am not reaching my goal. I'm eating everything I'm supposed to. I'm not eating too much. I'm not eating much junk. I'm just having a cheat meal every now and then. But if I really go back and look at it, there's a lot more, off-plan meals than what I wanted to remember. So if you have to log, you have, or at least write it down, keep a food journal, whatever it is, and it has to be accurate. Sometimes we decide, well, I had some chocolate, but that wasn't on plan, so I'm not going to track that. You have to track it. Otherwise, you're just kind of kidding yourself. So make sure you track everything, and it's okay. Like, one thing isn't going to make or break your goal, your results. It's just the consistency of doing it over and over and over. So if you're consistently having a treat over and over, you're probably not going to reach those goals. If you're consistently eating, all your vegetables in a day that you should be eating, and you're hitting your protein targets, you're probably going to start to see the progress that you're looking for. Some of our favorite tracking tools include obviously the HSN app. There's a lot of things in there that you can use to your advantage. There's a habit tracker, and so you can have it set to where, are you drinking? Are you meeting your water intake every day? Have you been hitting your nutrition goals? Have you been eating, you know, the recommended number of vegetables and fruits every day? That kind of stuff. Another option would be your calendar. So one really simplified way to track your progress is to have a calendar, and every day give yourself a rating of like a green happy face, a yellow kind of like in the middle face, like, not a frown, but not a smile, or a red frown face. I know it sounds silly, but hear me out. If you rate every day of nutrition, based on that, like green, yellow, red, like green is awesome, everything went well. You did 80% of your intake was on point. Give yourself a green smiley face. If maybe you had like a whole meal that was kind of off track, or you ate too much, maybe you had a couple of indulgences or some alcohol, maybe give yourself a yellow, like in the middle, rating. And then if you have a day where it was just kind of, the wheels fell off, you had a couple of meals that were not ideal, you had several drinks of alcohol, you didn't hit your water intake, you didn't exercise, you didn't get good sleep, like that would be a red, definitely needs improvement day. So just tracking those and writing those little things on the calendar, it starts to add up, and it kind of makes you want to get more green days. The more green days you get, the better you're going to do. And it's super simple. It's there's not a lot that has to go into it. It's just, was it great? Was it okay? Or was it needs improvement? That's it. So try that if you struggle to log things on a regular basis. You can also use notes in your phone. You can take pictures of your meals and keep a log of those. You can also track your biometrics. So you can track your measurements, your weight, your photo, you take pictures every day. We had to do this for a specific challenge that my husband and I did, and I absolutely hated it. But after a while, you start seeing the progress, and it's like, oh, okay, this is actually working. Because when it's just you day to day, you don't really see those small changes. But if you're taking a picture every day for 60, 70 days, all of a sudden when you're at day 65, 70, whatever, you look a whole lot different than you did on day one and day two. So another way to track would be if you have a pair of jeans that like you just don't love the way they fit, maybe they're a little bit snug, try those on every now and then and see how they're fitting. Do you feel more comfortable in your clothes? That's a really good sign that things are moving in the right direction. So that is about it. Just kind of to summarize, like step one is create a plan. Step two, execute the plan. Step three, track your progress. We've got to do all those things. Otherwise, it's just really easy to kind of fall off the wagon and not get where we want to go. And then we're kind of stuck in that forever loop of getting back on track, falling off, getting back on track, falling off. So remember, create a plan, execute the plan, track your progress. That's about it. Is there any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Is there anything you'd like to add? All right. I don't know. I think I've got one person that's muted right now, so hopefully they don't have a question. But it's been a good talk.